So there you have it. This is my solo queue climbing tier list. I really like these S plus tier Pokemon, but if you're not going to watch the video and you're going to miss what I've said, I'm going to say it right now. These Pokemon at the start of this list, they would be S plus tier if you could pick them up in 5 games, but unfortunately you can't. You need to practice. This is a tier list for climbing and solo queue. It's not how good I think the Pokemon is in general. I think it's how its skills work and how its abilities function in order to play in the solo queue, because one important thing I think to climb is the ability to play from behind, because when you're in solo queue, sometimes you're going to be very behind, and a Pokemon's ability to be able to come back from that is important to climb, because otherwise those games where you are behind, you're essentially just throwing them in the bin. So my first one that I'm going to pick on, and I hate to do it, but it's Dragapult. If you want to lose some ELO, use this Pokemon. Okay, it's not a bad Pokemon. I think it's really cool and it's really fun, but the way the moves function is very snowball dependent. Dragon Dance cooldowns are going to reset quite a lot if you're getting kills, if you're getting assists, when you're involved in fights. When you're behind, your team's going to be farming, and Dragapult doesn't just take on a Pokemon and kill it from full to death with just one skill. It's very team dependent. So if you're behind, you're pretty much throwing the game away unless you can get a steal on the Rayquaza, and again, Dragapult is an auto attacker, so you're going to have to be incredibly lucky to get a steal with this Pokemon. Next up on the list, I'm going to say Comfey. Use in the solo queue if you can use it well. The requirement is you need 1 of 4 teammates to be good because you want to work alongside them and help facilitate their growth and their ability to engage in fights and win fights and support them. It's a really good Pokemon if in the right hands, so use it if you can use it well, but if you don't know how to use it, just probably go practice and then jump into ranked. Okay, that's same for Lucario, and that is the same for Decidueye. These Pokemon are really fun and really awesome to use. They're strong picks if you can use them right. Venusaur, I'm going to say, is a pretty good pick for solo queue. One of 2 reasons. You can use either build. I think it's really solid. The requirement is level 13, and in solo queue you can get level 13 even if you're behind. Okay, so long as there's some kind of catch-up experience which you can get, which you can do with Venusaur. You can absolutely do that. So I think it's a good pick for solo queue. I think it's a pretty underrated pick in general, but definitely not underrated in history. We've seen Venusaur be very dominant. Gengar, I'm going to say, is a pretty good pick for solo queue. Again, use it well and you'll be doing pretty good things. The only thing is you kind of need jungle. You probably shouldn't be laning with Gengar, although maybe in solo queue and you want to throw for stacks early, you can probably get going with Gengar, but I wouldn't recommend that. But again, in solo queue you can probably get away with that, not competitively. Mr. Mime generally is a pretty good pick for solo queue. Okay, it's strong enough, it can dish out enough damage. Both builds can be useful, so long, again, this is under the assumption that you can use play the game fairly normally, as in you've played like 10 games with the character and you understand how the skills work. So I think it's a good pick for solo queue. Snorlax is incredible. Snorlax is S+++++. It's on a tier of its own. I think Snorlax is so amazing in solo queue. The fact that you can just push enemies around with block and get catch-up experience if you need to, that completely swings the game. It completely changes the game. So I think people aren't using it as well as they probably could in solo queue, and I think it's so strong in lane. It does such a good job in lane. If you're a Snorlax and you've got a strong laning partner, that Snorlax Lucario, the lane's over, or like Snorlax Aegislash, the enemy, unless if they're strong as well, if they decide to pick something weak in lane, you've pretty much won the lane. So I think Snorlax is absolutely amazing. Gardevoir. Gardevoir. I'm going to say it's bad in solo queue. I know there's going to be quite a few people who disagree with that, but I think it's good in team, though. I think Gardevoir is a very special pick. Definitely has a place in competitive. To be honest, everything has a place in competitive if you can build a team and learn how to play your team fights. Because that's just the nature of creativity of Pokemon Unite, which is really cool. But I think for solo queue, I'm not really a fan of it. It's terrible in lane, and I think there are better jungling options, so I don't think it's too great. However, It's, no, I'm going to keep it there, but I know people are going to disagree with it. Absol, use if you want to lose. I'm not a fan of Absol, and I never have been. I've seen people use it really well, especially in the Japanese meta. The Japanese meta seem to be insanely good with Absol, but I'm yet to really see it in my Australian servers, so I'm going to keep it there. Garchomp. I've seen Garchomps do some pretty good work, and I think it can rip objective pretty well. It can put a lot of pressure on the enemies, but if you're versing, I'm going to say if you know how to use it well, you can use it, but it's very, very borderline. I'm going to keep it here. Crustle, I think Crustal's a good pick. Okay, now I know a lot of people are going to say that's really dumb, but I actually think Crustal's really good and really fun. It's a great tank if you know how to use it. You're going to get a lot of value, and you're going to notice a lot of my defenders are going to be up in the top because I think they're so amazing in solo queue, and I can't believe more people aren't using them. Like generally when I'm playing solo queue, I'm using a tankier mon. But yeah, I think Crustal's amazing. If you watch the Crustal guide, it can change the fight so well. Greninja, I really like Greninja. I think Greninja has a place everywhere. I wouldn't say it's S++++++++, but I'm going to say it's really good. I really like Greninja. Talonflame, only if you're going to use it properly. Don't use a goal getter. Don't go on back cap. Use it properly. But it's very, very valuable if you can use it well. You can push enemies out of position. It's not broken by any stretch, but yeah. Charizard, no, that's just, we don't really need to discuss further. If you watch the step-by-step jungling guide, you'll see why. I don't think, Charizard once upon a time was amazing, but not anymore. Zeraora, only if you can use it well. Okay, it's not good. You get the skills a little later. You generally don't want to be playing from behind, but the Pokemon can come back from behind because Wild Charge Spark can pick up KOs pretty well. But yeah, I'm going to keep it there. Cinderace S+. I think Cinderace is incredible. Not because, don't use the Unite move to try and secure and steal stuff. Use the Unite move to engage with your team in fights from the back line. And then the basic attacks just shred. Especially with the increased base attack speed, with the Scarf and the Muscle Band and the Blaze Kick Plus. I think Cinderace is probably the best jungler still. I think it's absolutely amazing. Eldegoss, good pick. Absolutely amazing pick. Cramorant. I don't know. I'm borderline. I like Cramorant, but I'm going to say in solo queue, not so much. I think in duo queue, it's a different story, but no, not in solo queue. Blastoise is good. Watch the guide. I really like it. Pikachu, I'm going to put it in S+. I think Pikachu's incredible. You can literally just kill something if you Unite and then Volt Tackle and then Electro Ball. It's so good. I'm a massive fan. It's really supportive. It does a lot of damage. You can do so much AoE damage in that Rayquaza fight and stay safe by using a Unite move and diving in with the Volt Tackle so you can get the AoE damage. I really like it. I think it's really good. Clefable, good, but don't play like a fool. Ninetales, again, good, but don't play like a fool. Wigglytuff just doesn't have a place right now. I'm not a fan. I haven't seen much of it. I'm not a pro myself, but I think there's so many better options. Although it's a bit harsh to say you used to lose, so I might just say it's bad in solo queue, but good in a team. But it's not really that good in a team. No, I'm gonna leave it down here. Better options. Slowbro. I love it. I think it's great. It's got a place everywhere. So I'm going to say very, very good. Machamp, great in solo queue. Really good. Great early laning phase. I know some people might disagree, but use Karate Chop to actually secure instead of doing damage to farm, and you're going to get it most of the time. Bulk Up helps you escape. Save your eject for escaping. Machamp's amazing. Blissy's a great pick. Mamoswine's also a good pick. Sylveon S++++, S++++, so much it's at the front. Sylveon, Mystical Fire, and Draining Kiss is so good in solo queue. I've been saying this from release, and even so much so that we're now seeing some use competitively for Sylveon. I think Sylveon is absolutely amazing. Greedent's amazing. Again, I'm under the assumption that you can use, like, you don't just buy it and walk into solo queue and it's S plus tier. Like, you need to be able to use these Pokemon. But no, you need to be able to use it well though. Whereas Sylveon and Snorlax, you can kind of click button. They're very, very similar. So no. Greedent, if you can use it well. Dragonite, no. Serena, I'm so sad for Serena. She needs a buff, so no. Trevenant, great pick for solo queue. Aegislash, again, use it if you can use it well. So a lot of these Pokemon, actually I'm going to order them. Like Aegislash, Lucario, Decidueye, and Greedent. They're so amazing. Those 4 are incredibly... would be S plus tier if they weren't so hard to use. Hooper, no. And I only say Hooper no because if you've ever tried to use Hooper in solo queue, your team, it's like they don't know what a portal does, and you're essentially just playing without skills. So no, not in solo queue, but has a place in team. We've seen it before do very, very good. Its usage has dropped off a little bit, but I still think Hooper has a place in the meta, and we'll probably see it come out again, especially if it gets a little buff. I think Hooper's pretty good. Duraludon, I'm not a fan. But I'm not going to let my bias get in the way. I actually think it's good. But I personally, I'd say no. But I've seen people use it well. So I'm going to keep it there. Azumarill, use to lose. I don't like Azumarill. I think if you're going to use an all-arounder, use Aegislash, use Lucario, use Machamp, use Garchomp, even use Tyranitar, and Tyranitar is also in the use to lose. These Pokemon are not good. These Pokemon can get kited so easily. If you're versing anyone half decent, they're going to punish you. You need so much support to be able to engage in team fights and kill things. And a lot of time in solo queue, you're going to jump in and do damage, and then you're going to die, and then a certain amount of time passes, so you're not even going to get the assist for it. So you don't even get like the assist experience. So it's just I'm not a fan. I think it's going to take a lot of convincing otherwise. Espeon, if you use it well, Espeon can be good. If you're going to play like a fool, Espeon's not great. Delphox can do amazing things, so I'm going to put Delphox in. It's just a good pick for solo queue. Same as Glaceon is a good pick for solo queue. Again, both of them in jungle can do amazing things. Buzzwole is a really solid pick in solo queue. Mew, you again would be S plus if you could use it properly. It's very, very complicated. Scizor is a good pick. Skyther and Scizor, they're both really good picks. I really, really like them. Dodrio, I'm putting at the forefront of use to lose ELO. I'm not a fan of Dodrio. I do not like Dodrio in solo queue. If you're behind with this Pokemon, the enemy's going to get 20 kills on you. You can't do anything. If you go in and engage with your skills and then you die. So I don't like Dodrio in solo queue. In a 5-stack, Dodrio is constantly getting banned. Dodrio is an amazing Pokemon, but in solo queue, it's just it is not the one to use. We're getting towards that tail end here, so we have got Sableye. Sableye is just generally a bad pick. I've never rated Sableye ever since the start of this game. I think it's bad to climb with. I don't think it does a lot of work. I think people just disengage and ignore you, and if your team doesn't follow up a Confuse Ray, then you're just like running around providing vision, and you might as well do that with a Greedent. So no, not a fan. Zeraorc, nah, not. Again, I feel like there's a bit of bias here, but I've seen Zeraorc do incredible things, just like Absol. I'll put him right next to Absol, but nah. Water Urshifu, this is the Water Urshifu. I think Water Urshifu is great. I think it's a very, very good pick right now. I think a nerf is incoming for him, definitely, but he's a good pick. And lastly, we've got Urshifu Dark. Urshifu Dark is bad. We don't use, even in a team, Urshifu Dark is is not a good Pokemon. Urshifu Dark is very overrated. The nerf was incoming, and even prior to the nerf, I think he was very overhyped, so no.